definitely worked with him. And then after that point, what was your next step? Like, what did you get into after that? Like, what was your training process?
Well, training, I actually took an online course, Ronnie Marmo,
Okay.
who I don't know if you're familiar with. Ronnie's done a lot of stuff with General Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
He's been all over the board. So I met Ronnie on that set.
Okay.
So he said, "Hey, man, you got potential. Like I want to work with you. So the next thing, then naturally, here comes COVID, right?
Yep. Yep.
So Ronnie ends up setting up an online acting course. So I went on Ronnie's course, and Ronnie's a seasoned guy. He's
Yeah.
been around. He's directed. He's produced. He's acted. And he said to me, he goes, "Bro, you better pursue this." He goes,
Mm-hmm.
"Because you got something. You got a gift."
Yep.
So from there, I hooked up with Diana Carter,
Yep.
my manager.
Yep. Diana. Yep.
And Diana comes out of the woodwork, and she's like, basically called me up and goes like, "Yo, who are you?" And I
Yeah.
go, "Who's this?" And she's like, "Diana Carter, out in LA. I seen your stuff." And I'm like, "Okay." And she goes,
Mm-hmm.
"Well, I want to represent you." And I go, and being novice and naive, I'm like, "Well, what do you mean?" And
Yeah.
she
Yeah. Like
explains the
what
whole
do
thing
what
to
do
me.
you
And I'm
offer?
like,
What do you want from me?
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So, I've been blessed in my life. I'm self-employed. So
Yep.
I've reached a point where I have the time to give,
Mm-hmm.
and pursue the movie industry now.
Yeah. That's
So
a big
it
thing
allowed
too.
me to,
That's a big thing that a lot of people don't understand. It's like if you have availability, that's something that kind of plays a huge part. And you get in the role because what it's you get the casting call, and then you get the call back, and then you got to
yep,
go audition. And then like before, it
yep,
was like now they got a lot of virtual stuff. Before it was like you had to go out to the audition, you drive, go through traffic, 4 hours for like a 10-second audition, come back home, and then have to wait for weeks. And then once you get the call, then it's like, all right, now I got to take time off to go shoot. And is all that stuff worth it? Who knows?
yeah. So yeah, that's how it all happened. It all came into play, man. And I've been fortunate. So everything's falling into place.
Yeah.
You know, everything that I've auditioned for, I've gotten.
Yeah.
Shockingly. And I always thought I was going to be locked into that Italian mob guy role, or the Italian guy.
Yeah.
Um, but recently, I auditioned for some, as you know, with Robert Lasardo,
Yeah.
and and that threw me for a loop, man.
Yeah, Rob's a legend
And
too. Everybody knows him. It's like you see his face, you're like, yeah, I
oh
know him. Yeah, I know Rob.
yeah, amazing,
Yeah,
great guy.
there you go.
Can't say enough about him. But it's all falling into place now. I'm enjoying it. I'm really having a good time. Um, I'm loving the journey with people you meet,
Mm-hmm.
and sitting down with people like you and I are talking now. Like when we met,
Yep.
we were at my house, we're sitting there talking, and through K Town, and
Yep. Yep.
I,
You'll
I love
break
that.
that down a little bit. We give a little shout out to K Town. What is that about?
Yeah,
What's that
Billy
about?
Hartman, man.
Yeah,
Billy
yeah.
Hartman getting ready
It's
to
my
do this
guy.
K Town thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we met there. I
Yep.
remember that day. And yeah,
Showed in the
it's all
garage.
good stuff, man. Yeah, the
See the
garage.
cars.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
This is,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah.
you can see.
Got some classic
There's the
stuff in there.
Yeah, there's the tea bucket.
Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
there's my 70 Chevelle.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
there's
the
the
one.
Z06.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the one.
Yeah.
But I need to take that
Yeah.
one out. All right.
I need a
So
certificate of insurance first, Harry.
yeah. I'll bring it up. I'll make sure. I'll make sure it's covered. uh, so let's talk a little bit about you landing the role. We talked about Rob Lasara in American Trash. Let's talk about how was it to be directed by Rob? Like how was it? How was that? And how was that experience for people that don't know? Obviously, Rob is like a legend in the film industry. He's done a lot of different things, and then to be cast, and then we
Yeah.
talked about it off set and off camera, but just break it down for some of the people that are watching. How was that experience for you?
Wow. So Diana
Mhm.
Carter
Yeah.
sends me to sides on a Saturday afternoon and she's like, "Hey, I got something I want you to audition with. It's a self tape." It sends me the sides, and it was all done on a text. I remember this like it was yesterday. So I'm looking at it, and I'm like, "Well, your next question is when is this due?" Right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So I call her up. I said, "Diana, I got the email. I got the sides. When's this due?" She goes, "Tomorrow morning." I go, "What?" And I'm still at work,
Yeah, yeah,
like my
yeah, yeah,
real
yeah,
job.
yeah, yeah.
So the audition was for a coroner,
Okay.
right? And that's not, I'm not used to that. I'm like, okay, coroner, coroner,
Hmm.
coroner. So I get home, I'm thinking about it, and I remembered that I had an old doctor's uniform from Halloween.
Yep.
So I go in the closet like a nut,
Uh,
digging this thing out. So I get it all ready. Sunday morning, my daughter,
mhm.
I said, Sophia, get your iPhone. We got to do something, right? And she's like, what are you doing dressed as a doctor? I said, I need to audition for
I
something real
need something
quick.
real
So
quick. Just do me a favor.
yeah.
Just handle
So
this real quick.
yeah. So now when I tell you, I looked at the sides maybe 3 times,
Okay.
and I really didn't have it down. So now I'm like freaking out. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm thinking, all right, what's a coroner use? A clipboard with a pen. So I took the sides and I put it on the clipboard, and I used the clipboard as a prop. And I had
Smart.
my pen. So
Smart.
I'm marking everything down. So I read through it. I think I did 2 takes on it.
Okay.
I thought they were okay.
Mhm.
So sent them in to Diana. So I sent that in Sunday on time, like she wanted. Tuesday night, I get a call, and it comes through with a LA area code. So
Okay.
I pick it up. I'm like, hello. And this guy's like, hey, Emilio, what's up, man? I'm like, hey, who's this? He goes,
Who's this?
Robert Lasardo. Robert Lasardo. I go, what? So now I'm like, oh my God, I'm on the phone with Lasardo. And I'm like, what's going
Wow.
on? He goes, hey, bro. He goes, great audition. I
Mhm.
feel like I can work with you. I think I could direct you. And I go, what are you talking about? He goes, the coroner. I go, no, it
I
was his
forgot.
production. Like I had no idea. No,
Yep. Yep.
no.
Yep.
Diana never said anything. She never told me.
Oh. Oh. Okay.
So I'm
Okay.
like,
Okay.
wait a minute, right? So I'm like, okay. He goes, hey man, how's your availability? And he gave me the
Mhm.
date. And I says, you know what, Robert, I'm good. He goes, yeah, man, we're gonna do this. So now I'm starting to get ballsy, you
Yeah. Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah. You
go,
gotta
I,
get
I
the
go, hey
confidence. You
Robert,
gotta get the. Yeah. You gotta get it up.
yeah. So I go, question. I go, how many people auditioned? He goes,
Uh,
75.
it's like, yep.
Yeah. So I'm like, wow, man, what just happened?
Mhm.
So called Diana up, and and I told her, and she's like, well, how do you know? I said, Robert called. It's
Yeah.
like, we're good, man. She's like, all right, great. So
Yep.
next thing you know, I'm on a flight to LA, and I knew I was going to be working with Sizemore, with
Mm-hmm.
Tom. And you
Tom.
know
Yep.
that,
Yep.
you and I and Tom were together that day over
Yep.
at the K Town thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So Tom, I was cool with. We met. It's not
Yeah.
like I was going
Cool
to be
guy.
nervous around him. Yeah,
I
great guy.
know. Mm-hmm.
So I get to set. It was in Huntington Beach.
Okay.
So I got my backpack and I'm good, man. I opened the door, and who's the first person I see? Lasardo.
Laura was like,
And
hey.
no, he was like in his zone, man. He was like
Oh
looking
wow.
around. He had everything set up, and I walk
Mhm.
in and I'm like, "How you doing?" He goes, and it was crazy. He just looked at me. He goes, "Hey, Emilio, how you doing?" I said, "I'm good." Right? He's like, "You go get changed." And I'm like, "All right." So I go in the back and wardrobe. I come back out, and I'm sitting there, and he was. I can't even describe it. He was such in the zone that he was looking
Mhm.
at the props, and he was looking at the set, and he wasn't talking to nobody. He was just walking around making triple checking. The guy was just intense.
It's a tricky
And I'm
thing though
like,
because he's got both. He's got the acting part and then he's got the directing part. So he's got to make sure everything like I've been in that position where it's kind of like you got to make sure everything is going good and you got to get in the zone where you got to, take after take. So, yeah, but keep going. What else? What else happened? I'm
yeah.
getting all like
So
excited for you
so
and
the
stuff.
so the next thing you know, Sizemore walks in,
Okay.
and I see him, and I'm dressed, I'm ready to go. Sizemore comes in, and he looked at me, and he goes, Emilio. I go, yo, what's up, man? Hey. He goes, last time I saw you it was like 107 in Jersey. I go, you're right, man. He goes, yeah, we
Yep.
were sitting in your car.
Hot
We
as
had the
hell.
air on. We were sitting there talking. So at that point, I kind of took a deep breath. I was like, all
Yeah,
right,
I got
we're
it.
gonna do this, And so we were working with Gigi Gustin.
Yeah.
She's awesome. She is terrific. So I felt confident. I'm like, all right, I got Gigi, I got Tom, and I got Rob, a bunch of production people around us. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, we're gonna do this. So Rob comes up and he goes, look, this is what I'm looking for. A, B, C, and he just started. I said, okay, man, let, I'll give you whatever you want, man. And I think that's part of the way I was brought up
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, you always respected your boss. And my
Yeah.
dad was my boss. I got
Yeah.
no special treatment from my dad when I grew up in the construction industry.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
your boss is your boss. So, Rob, I'm like, I'll give you whatever you want.
Whatever
Right?
you need, whatever you got, I got to give it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So we run this thing and we kept running it. And Rob's like, hey Gigi, I'm looking for more of this. Hey Tom, I'm looking for more of this, but he's not saying nothing to me, right? And I'm like, I don't know if this is good or
Is it
bad.
good or
Like,
bad, yo?
yeah.
Yeah.
So we get done,
Mm-hmm.
and there was no dialogue with me and Robert. There were little things. My head position during the one scene, he wanted to change, fine, you know. And then because he's intense, man. The guy
Yeah.
knows what he's doing. He's incredible to work with. I loved it. And after we were all done, I went in the back and changed, and he came out, and he was like a different person. The door opens up. He goes, Emilio, brother, great job, man. He's all hugging me, and I'm like,
Yeah. Ooh,
I'm
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I said, so Rob, we good? He goes, hell yeah, we're good. I'm like, oh, thank God. And even Sizemore goes, bro, you killed it. I said, okay, now I feel good.
Yeah, you
So
feel good.
I
Yep.
went from here to here,
Yeah.
man. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah. And Gigi Gustin, same thing. She was like, hey, man, you did great. And I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
And that
Because they
was
don't
it, man.
know. They don't know. They don't know like your history. They don't know your experience. They don't know any of that. So all they're going off of like that moment, in the moment when you're shooting that scene. How do you react? How do you take direction? How's your chemistry with everybody else? So it's a great thing to actually nail it, and then you get that confidence level. So now you can feel like, oh yeah, I can do this now. So
Yeah.